始まりました。どうも皆様、みまりんでございます。水の精霊 Vtuber のみまりです。はい。いや、水の精霊 Vtuber ド S 疑惑のみまりです。の方がいいかな、今日は。ということで、くしらさん、みきさん、ひえさん、大変ありがとうございます。それから、ひえさん、ようこそ、メンバー見守り隊へいらっしゃいませ。ありがとう。ありがとう。これでスタンプ打てるよ。はい、疑惑は草。いや、私はね、認めてないからド S だって。認めてないから。だから疑惑です。あと結構、みまりは、ド S なのかどうかって結構なんか争点になることが多いんで、一応疑惑かなって。みまりさんはド S だよ派と、みまりさんはド S じゃないよ、ただ優越してるだけだよ派と結構分かれてるんでね。はい、まあド S 疑惑ということでちょっとやらせていただきます。でなんですけども、こちらの本日やっていくゲームが、ザ・スタンリー・パラブル・ウルトラ・デラックスなんですね。みまりさんね、実は、これ実況動画をね、2回ほど見たことがあるんです。一つはゆっくりボイスの実況。で、もう一つは、ついこの間投稿されていたストリーマーの実況なんですけども、めちゃくちゃ面白いです、このゲーム。そう。めちゃくちゃ面白いです。で、ちょっと実況をかじったくらいじゃ、全然、このゲームの全容を見ることはできません。山ほどのエンディングが存在します。なので、まあ、ほぼ初見ということでね、ゲームシステム分かってるほぼ初見ということでね、やらせていただきます。で、本日のサムネがね、指示中ナレーターを、なんだっけ、振り回したいド S 疑惑のみまりみたいな感じのタイトルじゃないですか。まあ見てもらった方が早いかなということで、早速やっていきますか。ド S 派 VS イエス派、まあだってそうだもんね。ねえ、そうだもんね、みんなね。あ、BGM 消さなきゃ。よいしょ。言語は日本語。スタンリーパラブルプレイしたことはありません。ちょっと待ってね。ちょっとコメント見えなくなっちゃった。本当にストリームデック欲しいな。よいしょ。これで。でもこういうのはちょっと明るめの方がいいんで、初期設定で。はい。現在の時刻。そんなのいるの21時、AM、PM でやる感じね。9時38分。はい。時間要素あるの何それ知らないんだけど。ほら、早速知らないの出てきた。はい。ザ・スタンリー・パラブル・ウルトラ・デラックス。なんか思いっきりなんか職場みたいな感じだよね。やっていきましょうか。初見っぽさ出ましたよね。初見なんで、ほぼ。自分でやるの初めてだし。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
はい。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
はい。
Employee number 427's job was
社
simple.
畜ですね。
He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him
し
through
か
a
も
monitor
人差し指なんだって。
telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
ヒエさん知ってる？
This is
こ
what
れです、これ
employee
です。
427 did every
なんか
day,
賞を受賞してたんです
every
よね、このゲー
month
ム。
of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
621じゃないね。621はもっといい仕事もらえますから。
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company.
あ、ちょっと待って。スキップしちゃった。ごめん。スキップしちゃった。まあそんな感じです。スキップしちゃったけど、あとなんかマウスがスキップしちゃったけど、まあ急に指示が届かなくなったからその原因を見に行こうって感じです。スキップしちゃった。マウスカウント高すぎん？すごいぐるぐるする。はい、427です。さて、あれ？これは進む、ジャンプ、インタラクトいいね。オッケーオッケーオッケーオッケー。ジャンプとかあんの？ジャンプしないが。あ、閉められた。あ、入れなくなったんだけど。リスナーに対するミスですからの。帰れなくなった部屋に。429。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
つけられない。しまった。パソコン消しちゃった。しかも強制終了だ。あらー。あらー。カチカチカチカチカチカチカチ。カチカチカチ。カチカチカチカチ。なんかね、本当にね、めちゃくちゃ要件エンディングがあるらしくて。よいしょ。パソコン、あ、つけっぱだ。これも消しとこう。消しとこう。全部強制終了して回ろうぜ。職場のパソコン破壊して回ろう。あれ、どっちから来たっけ？あ、入れない。そう、電気代もったいないよね。なんかね、ちょっとだけついてるパソコンなんか気色悪いじゃんね。あれこっちでいっけ？ 416。415。あ、こっち初めてだよね。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左側のドアに入れと言っていますね。左側に行けって言ってる。あ、待って！閉められた！うわ、だる！だる！ちょっと！はぁ？もう一生従ってやんねえ。閉められた。ちょっと見てから右行こうと思ったのに閉められたんだけど。あ、閉められる。両開き？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
オフィスに行くことにしました。これプロジェクター消せない？なんかできない？なんかできない？なんかできない？なんかいたずらしたいんだけど。なんか実績解除されたけど、英語なんでわかりません。キーボードクラッシャーならぬ PC クラッシャー。締め出し再び。多分上に行けって言われてるよね。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
なんかさ、結構なんかこれしろあれしろって言われてるから、ちょっと放置してみない？
No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. no reason to still
ここにい
be
る理
here.
由はない。本当になんかできたりしない？なんかさ、出てったらま
It
た
was
締め出されるんじゃ
baffling
ない？
that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
は
He
い。
wasn't even doing anything.
彼は
At
全
least
く何
if
も
there
して
was
いないん
something
で
to
す。
interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
めっちゃ出てけって言われるんだけど。でもさ、これよくあると思うんだけど、なんか、
Are you really still in the broom
めっちゃ
closet?
せかすやん。
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm
あらあ
genuinely
らあらあらあら
confused.
あらあら。いや、なんかさ、勉強する気があっても、勉強しろって言われたら、勉強する気
You
なく
do
なるよね。
realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out.
いや、全
It
然。
didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
はい。いや、困ってるね。いいじゃん、困ってるね。はい、コンビまでいらっし
Maybe
ゃ
to
い。
you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was
物
my
系のや
favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
顔文字までつけて。これ、できないか。
Stanley was fat and ugly and really,
じゃあ、
really
ちょっと
stupid.
罵倒されたんだ
He
けど。
only got the job because of a family
めっちゃ
connection.
罵倒
That's
して
how
くるやん。
stupid he is.
何
That all
何
with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to
おっ
drugs
と
and
おっ
hookers.
とおっと慣れたもしかし
Well,
て
I've
イラ
come
イ
to
ラ
a
して
very
る？
definite conclusion about what's going on right now.
はい。
You're dead.
あ、死んでる
You
ら
got
し
to this
い。
broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady
Hi.
of some sort shut down your central nervous
Hi.
system and you collapsed on the keyboard.
あなた、
Well, in a situation like this,
はい。
the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so
Hi.
as to ensure that your body is taken
Hi.
care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who
ハロー、
happens
偶
to be
然近くにいた人。
nearby?
もし
The
かしてこ
person
れ
at。this computer
待って
is
待って
dead. They have fallen prey to any
待って
number
待って
of
待っ
your
て待って。
countless human physiological vulnerabilities.
これも
It's
しかし
indicative
て
of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please
スタンリーじゃな
remove
くて
their
私に言ってる？
corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video
めっ
games.
ちゃ長い
So that the
長
irony
い
and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them.
長い
All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
もしかしてこれさ、スタンリーじゃなくってモニターの前にいるみまりが死んだって言ってます？このナレーションちょっともうちょっと言ってやろうかね。散々な言われようだよね。もうこれ以上何もない？これ以上何もないですか？やる気がないなら出てけってこと。なるほど。
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
あ、もうこれ以上何もないみたいだ。仕方ない、進んでやるか。こんな感じのゲームです。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
上
office.
の階にある上司の部屋に向かいます。はい。上の階ね。上の階。お、なんか赤いぞ。なんかあるんじゃないかここ。あ、車だ。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe He thought to himself, maybe I am
自分を
crazy.
狂ってしまったの
All
か
of
も
my
しれない。
co-workers
はい。
blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
はい。
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his
あ、
feet
見えない。
when
本
he
当だ。
looked down? Why did doors close automatically
お、確か
behind
にそう
him
だね。
wherever
自動で
he
閉まるよ
went?
ね。
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't
こ
be
んなの
real.
絶対おかしい
But
よ。
at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't
聞いちゃいない。
actually
仕事
gone.
も失ったり
He
狂って
wasn't
も
going
い
to
ない。
lose his job.
はい。
He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing
ちょっとナレー
buttons.
ション
I
長い
may
で
as
す。
well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
ナレーション長いです。
He imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
おっと
ground.
ループしてる。
Then he imagined himself soaring
Loop
through
してる。
space on a magical star field, and it too appeared.
おっと。
It was so much fun,
おっと。
and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
はい。
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he
は
thought.
い。
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all
ちょ
people
もう
in
ちょっ
their
と要
dreams,
点まとめ
the
てもらえ
truth
ま
was
す
that, of
か
course,
長いで
this
す。
was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
これ
Stanley
なんかで
is
きない
as
かな
awake
この
right
車なん
now
かできな
as
い
he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak
Hi.
these words was quite a shock to
Hi.
Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float
Hi.
and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of
あ、
himself
すごい。
too.
ナレーターが乗りに乗って
Surely,
きた。
if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
証明するのです。どうやって
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
はい。
the fresh air of the world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
はい。
I wish it to be over.
目が覚めまし
Let
た。
me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my
あ、結
job.
婚してるんだ、スタンリー。
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
カチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチ
I am
長い長い長い長い長い長い。あ、起きた。で、
Stanley began screaming.
起きました。
Please, someone wake me up. My name is
Otto.
Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I?
うるさいうるさいうるさいうるさい。
And everything went black.
あ、すごいバッドエンドみたい。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
ありえらはい。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other.
長くな
She
い
arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
はい。
But on
し
this
死
particular
んで
day,
る。
her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming
Ah,
to
idiot.
himself, and then collapsed dead
Ah,
on the
死んだ。
sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone
Crazy?
knows what crazy
Hi.
people look like. And
Hi,
in that
crazy.
moment, she thought to herself how
あ、
lucky
てか
she
今
was
更だ
to
け
be
ど音量プラ
normal.
ス大丈夫そう？
I am sane.
あ、本当
I
だ、止ま
am
るんじゃね
in
えぞだ。
control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the
現代社会の闇だ。
and then she turned and ran.
現代社会の闇だ。こうして人は救われないんだ。あ、なんか終わったっぽい。あ、なんか終わったっぽい。あ、戻ってきた。戻ってきた。
All of his co-workers were
あ、
gone.
戻っちゃった。
What could it mean?
あら。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
あら。
Perhaps he had simply
あら、
missed
バ
a
ッド
memo.
エンド分だから最初からやり直しなってこと？いいよ。じゃあ次は絶対。切れない。切れない。次は絶対言う通りにしてやんないから。勝手にドア閉めるとか聞いてないし。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
待つことす
Perhaps
ら
he
しな
wanted
い
to。stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room
一切ナ
worth
レーションを聞かずに
admiring.
進んでみ
But
る。
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
最初のドアを左。じゃあまっすぐ行くね。なんかないかな。なんかないかな。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
めっ
incredible
ちゃ
he
持ってくん
wasn't
だけどこの
5
ナレー
years
ション。
ago.
はい。何年も組み合わなかったのが不思議。はい。ワーニング。あ、
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the
Shino.
story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
Shino.
Stanley leapt from the platform and
え、死
plunged
ぬん
to
だ
his death.
このゲーム。
Good job, Stanley. Everyone
この
thinks
ゲー
you
ム
are
死ぬん
very
だ。
powerful.
死ぬんだ。
All of his co-workers were gone.
し、
What could
死
it
ん
mean?
だ。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
死ぬんだ。展開早かったね。2周目クリアおめでとうございます。死んだ。でもなんか振り回したいよね。
When Stanley
Come on,
came to a
Marisol.
set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
い
admire
や、そん
it.
なことは全くないけどね。
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
なんかニーヤのバッドエン
Thank
ド回収
goodness
っぽいよ
Stanley
ね。
had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
絶対これ入ったらさ入ったらさね、
Stanley
指
was
示
so
中
bad
され
at
るよ
following
ね。
directions, it's incredible he wasn't
いや、
5
聞かない
years
から
ago.
指示中のことなんかもう一生聞かないから。いや、このまま進んでやる。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Hi.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
あ
I
なたの
realize
敵
that
でもな
investing in
い。
your
指
trust
示
in
中は
someone
敵だ
else
よ。
can be difficult, but the
指
fact
示中は配
is
信
that
者
the
の
story
敵だよ。
has
何
been
言ってる
about
の？
nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please,
あっちに道があ
stop
る。
trying to make every decidecision by yourself.
一人で
I'm
決めよう
not
としな
asking
い
for
で。
me, I'm asking for
彼
her.
女って誰ですか？
This is it, Stanley.
カチカチカチ。
Your chance to redeem yourself,
自分で
to
取
put
り除
your
くん
work
ですか？はい。
aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
よかったよかった。まあ、一旦進んでみようか。真っ暗なんだけど。真っ暗なんだけど。おっと
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another,
他の人に信頼を受けるなら電話に入れて。一旦その前にさ、私ね、実はね、ここね、動画で見たとこなんだ。電話に出ずに、でーれん。 コンセント。もしかしてこれ。
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him,
抜いちゃっ
filling
た。
him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life united one... Wait. Oh, goodness.
いやいやい
Stanley,
やいや。
did you just unplug the
抜
phone?
けるようにしてる
No,
方
that
が悪いん
wasn't
でしょ。
supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
ああ、もう混乱してる混乱してる混乱してる。
It's definitely
シナリオ
here
がぐっ
clear
ちゃ
as
ぐ
day.
ちゃだ。やった
Stanley
ぜ。
picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits.
えらい陳腐なストーリーですね。
Not picking up
じ
the
ゃ
phone is
あ。
actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you...
何やってんのもって言われた。
Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
スタンリーではない。
I
はい。
can't believe I
私
was
は
so
スタンリーでは
mistaken.
ないです。
This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional
びっくりした。
video.
教育ビデオ。あ、なんかちょっと。
It's the best part of being a real person.
はい。
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous.
そうなんですか？
For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person
なん
may
か
move
新しいキャラ出
as
て
a
きたからパー
choice.
ト。は
He
い。
could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world
ちょっと
to make
虫
life
は
better
勘
for
弁してほ
all
しい
people.
な。
Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational
あ、
logic.
そう。
If
音
you
量大
find
丈夫。
yourself speaking
私
with
の
a
声ができ
person
な
who
い。
does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not
平
real.
気。大丈夫？
Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8?
あ、できないわ。
Less?
できないわ。
And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world,
この
just
教育ビデ
remember
オ退
that
屈
in
じゃ
the
ね？
vast
全
infiniteness
然
of
頭に
space,
入ってこない
your
んだけど。
thoughts and problems are
いや、だ
materially
りーよね。先生、
insignificant,
なんでこんな
and
もん
the
見せて
feeling
んだ？
should subside.
いや、
At
だ
this
りーだ
time,
り
your
ー。
instructor
早見しても
will
バレ
guide
な
you
いじゃ
in
ねえの？
exercise to
いや、
test
先生
and
寝てるじゃ
reinforce
ん。
the material covered in this video.
学校で見せられるやつ。
Welcome
おっと。
back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a
Ah,
result of
vagutteru.
narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
2+6フィッシュ人間が合理的なわけないんですよ。人間ほど非合理的な生き物いないですよ。ね。なんかない？ここ登れたりとか、あ、なんか登れる？ちょっと登れる。あ、ちょっと登れるくらいだ。これ以上は？これ以上上にはいけない？くそ。登れそうだったのにな。ダメか。ダメか。登れないか。エグジットこっちってなってるけど。仕方ないな。あ、くそ。ね、退屈すぎてね、寝ちゃうよね、こんなのね。あ、なんか戻された。これ、私ちょっとさっき見て思ったんだけどさ、これ一番下行ったら死ぬじゃん。でもここ通路があって、あそこにドアがあるんだよね。 うまいことってここ乗れないかな。私この先の展開はこのまま戻っちゃった時知ってるから、ちょっとダメだ開いてないクソ開いてないあ、クソチキショーワンチャンいけないチカチカチカチカグッあージャンプできないちょっと待ってね。ジャンプボタンあるにはあるんだけどさ、スペースできないんだよね。さては設定されてるだけでできないやつだな。ねえ、ここでさ、あ、自殺できないようになってる。うわ、だるてか、こんな坂最初なかったよね。うわー。よ、クール、センキューカラさん、ありがとう、いらっしゃいのバイ。本当に一瞬だった。クールだけ言われた。そう。うわ、私の意思でゲームさせてくれない。どっかでさ、破壊できないかなとこのナレーションもうちょっと。はい。うまくいく？本当にうまくいく？
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
言われた通り、いや、一本道ゲームって何が面白いんですか？いや、もう面白いっちゃ面白いけど、もうちょっとストーリーのクオリティ高い方が面白いと思うんですよ。右に行きます。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
おー、バグってるいや、いいなナレーションいじめるのっていいな。え、何もない？戻れない？閉められない。仕方ない。言われた通りにしてやるか。どっかで寄り道できるとかあったら絶対してやる。ちょっと待ってみるなんかさ、一本道ゲームさせられるのなんかすごい尺だからさ、なんかさっき物置でさ、待ってたらなんかあったよね。ちょっと待ってみるか。飛び降り防止されてた。安全機構完璧ちょっとだるかったな。開けろ、ここ開けろ、こっから出せ。誰がお前なんかの言う通りにするか。そう、言いなりはね、ちょっと尺だよね。もうちょっとなんかさ、オリジナリティ欲しいよね。ダメそうだ。仕方ない。しゃーなしやで。あら壊れてる。
Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now.
あ、壊れてる。ナレーション壊れてる。最高じゃん。
To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever.
なんか階段が
impossibility forever.
登れないか。
Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know.
戻れなくなってる。
What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
ゲームをいや、勝手にやめるんじゃないよ。あ、プレイヤー私だぞ。ゲーム落とされたんですけど。 プレイヤー私だが。あらー。あら、ゲーム壊れちゃった。私はここにいる。パパなんかな。あなたはそこにいますか？でもこのくらいのコートで壊れるゲームの方が悪くない？いやもうちょっといろんなことを想定してシナリオを作るべきだと思いませんか？
That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
あなたはほんの子供なんです。ちょっとシナリオ構成甘いんじゃない？
There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make.
あ、終わった。
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
右側待機しとこう。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
あ、無理やり戻されてる。
Exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あ、もう何も言ってくれない。ああ、何も言ってくれなくなっちゃった。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
なんループされるんだけど。もうちょっ
to
となんか用意しときなよ。こういうゲームにおいてさ、なんかさ、想定されてない動きをプレイヤーがしたときにさ、上手に対応するのがナレーションの役目でしょ？ゲームマスターなら頑張るよ。なんかない？ないか。ループを勝ち取るんだ。勝ち取らないと。あと2、3回言っとく？ 2、3回言っとく？もうちょっと情緒壊したくない？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あと2、3回やっとこっか。TRPG ならまずゲームマスターに嫌われプレイ。まあ、それは確かにそう。それは確かにそうだけど、そのくらいの想定してないシナリオが悪いです。TRPG だったら。てかこれだけさ、他に行けるとこ作っといてさ、そこを探索されないなんて思ってるシナリオの方が甘いよね。ねえ、じゃあ行けないように最初からしたらいいじゃんね。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
あ、これ以上もうないの？これ以上もう本当にないの？そろそろ後ろ行けたりしない？
I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ダメか。これでセリフ変わらなかったらシャアなしで左行ってあげる？あ、変わんない。変わんないクソ。
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
でも一本道ゲームでも名作はあるけども、でもそれはもうちょっと面白いよね。しゃあないか。しゃあないな。ほなしゃあないか。
Yet there was not a single person here either.
それさっき見たな、この会議室誰もいないの。
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
ルームクローゼット。
あ、
下行けないようにされてる。ちょっと行けないようにされたんだけど。うわー、やってるこいつ。こいつやってるわ。こっち開かない？鍵がかけられてる。鍵開けしたい。あ、このパソコン消せない？ついてないか？
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it.
なんかない、カチャカチャカチャカチャカチャ。窓から飛び降りてはいしないか。
And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
忘れちゃった。なんだっけ、パスワード。ごめん、聞いてなかった。もう一回言ってくれる？ごめん、ナレーション。
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115.
ナイトシャーク、ナイトシャークってなんて意味だろうね。夜のサメか。なんかもうちょっとなんか暗号的ななんかありそうだよね。
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
声で承認ってさ、だいぶセキュリティガバガバじゃない？もうちょっと打ち込みだよね、そういうのってね。
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you
シャークネードかもしれない。
suddenly decide you have better things to
サメ映画かな？
do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted.
右に入ったじゃん。右に入って戻されたやんか。すげえ言われようしてる。あら。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
スタンリーがいる。あ、もしかして私、クビにされた？
Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me?
これエンディングの一つですね。
Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please.
ナレーション、この人私よりやばいですよ。動いてくれないですよ。私よりもやばいよ。一分動いてくれないからね。遊ぶ気ないよ、この人。あ、弱々しい声。ああ、かわいそう、かわいそう。かわいそうだね。すごい弱っちゃって。かわいそうにね。ごめんね、リロイって人なんだ。かわいそう、ごめんね。私の方がマシだったって思うでしょ。動いてくれないよ、この人。ごめんね。あ、戻ってきた。ね、次はさ、飛び降り試してみようよ、下に。あれ多分1回目ならいけそうだし、ワンチャン。ちょっと、下の橋に飛び降りるルートにちょっと 私可能性感じてる。もっとこのリロイさんの情緒をぶっ壊したい。今私すごい優越を感じてる。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
早くあの道試したい。
Just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired
さて
years
どの
ago.
くらい前に行ったらいけそうだよね
Look,
こ
Stanley,
れ。
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your
これ
enemy,
多分
really,
ここ
I'm
まで行
not.
ったらいいし。
I realize that but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
足滑らせ
he
た。
leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
ミスです。
Good job, Stanley.
Miss
Everyone
this.
thinks you are very powerful.
思った以上に歩幅が大きかった。これさ、今 W を所要ししてるんだけど、所要しでこんだけ進むんですよ。
Even
ピ
now,
タって止まってくれ
Stanley's
ないの
office
こ
is a
れ。
distant memory.
意外
What
と
did it
進める
look
んよ
like?
ね。
There was a
っていう言い
computer,
訳。
perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a
意外とね、
photo?
このスタン
He
リー
could
ね、
no
足が
longer
速い。
recall.
こういう系のゲームってさ、もうちょっと足遅いやん、主人公って。かなり速いんだよね。ポ
When
ンしちゃっ
Stanley
たね、
came to
ポ
a
ンしちゃ
set
っ
of
た
2
ね。
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
次
knew
こ
it
そはちょっ
perfectly
とや
well.
ってみたくない？
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
なんかこんな愉快に仕事したいな。愉快な仕事したい
Stanley
な。
was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
これギリギリでこれ1回上に上がるっ
I
ぽいん
realize that
で。
investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. This
いった！
really?
いけ
I
た！
was in the middle of
よっしゃ、
something.
来
You
た！
have zero consideration for others.
他人の思いやりするとか言われ
Something
た。
bad to happen to you.
来た来た来た。
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really
やった！
do
やった！
want to help you,
やった！
to show you something beautiful.
よっしゃ、
Let
来
me
た！
prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
来た来た来た来た来た。いけたいけたいけた。よっしゃ、来た。お、地下だ。ここは初めて来たとこかな。触れるところは他にない。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
赤いドア。これは？でもさ、いや、みまりさん赤色好きだけどさ、でもみまりのパーソナルカラーってさ、青なんですよね。じゃあここは一旦青行ってみましょうよ。
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red
戻された。
door.
あ、いけたいけたいけたいけたいけた。
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
あ、戻れる。後ろに青いドアあるな。後ろにあるな、ドア。
All right, fine, go
あ、
ahead.
よし、来
Stanley.
た。
You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of
よっしゃ、
this
来た。
road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
お、初めて見るとこじゃない？
You see, there's nothing here. I
本当
haven't
に？
even finished building this section of the map
本当に？
because you were never supposed to be
でも道が
here
あ
in
る
the
よ。
first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see.
だかな。
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you
もう
want
ちょっと
to see?
プレイヤーの動きを想定したらいいゲームになった
Skill
と思う
trees?
よ。
Work with me. You give me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design.
ご意見を聞かせてください。
There
星
we
2か
go.
な
A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
めっちゃオレンジに切って言われてる。みまりさん思うんですよ。今までさ、ずーっと左側に行けって言われてたくない？たまにはさ、言うこと聞いてあげるのもいいんじゃないですか？
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
はい。
Now, tell me about your experience with this new
なんか
version.
始
Would
まっ
you
た。
say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical
あ、レビュ
feedback
ーしろっ
here.
てこと？いやー、まあでもめっちゃ時間かけて作ったんだろうなっていうのは感じるよね。だってさ、いろんなところにさ、行けるもんね。ちゃんと飛び降りてさ、違うルートにね、道にね、乗り移れるようにね、してくれてるのはすごい頑張りだと思うんだけどさ、でもさ、作っといてそれを想定していないナレーション良くないよね。あ、ポチッと。
One? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a one? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that?
ごめん、押しちゃった。
But I guess it isn't my place to judge.
まあ、真
Here,
摯に受け止め
based
て
on
もろ
the
て。
data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
もうできたの？仕事早っ。なんかある。なんかある。なんかランキングある。何これ？何これ？なんかランキングあるんだけど。何これ？何これ？何これ？あ、お前は最下位だぞと。めっちゃ煽ってくるやん。あと7時間もやってないから。まあ、左行けって言われたの1回言ったし、でも明らか右に行けって言われてるよね。でも真ん中って選択肢今までなかったやん。じゃあ真ん中じゃない？
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
いやでもなんかさっきさ、ランキングで煽られたよね。あれってランキングって自分でスクロールしてみるもんだよね。なんかわざわざさ、高速でスクロールしてさ、お前最下位やでって言う必要あるかな？腹が立ったので星1で
Hey,
す。
I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some
なに
playtesting.
なになに
You
なに
wouldn't
な
mind
に
taking a look at it?
いや、
would
いいですよ、いいですよ。
Perfect. Let me boot it
遊
up.
んであげるよ。
In this game, the baby crawls left
what?
towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly
体育表現した
confronting the
非常に
demands
興味
of
深いゲー
family
ム。
life. I think the art world will really take
しょ
notice.
っぽ。
But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's
4
effective?
時間プレ
Be
イ、こ
sure
れ
to
を。
keep notes on your experience.
意外と早いな。
You heartless
血もなみ、いや、普通に早かった、
bastard.
早かっ
Because
た
you。hate babies or purely to
早かった、
spite
早かっ
me.
た。お住
Because
まいに
of
行くのずるくない？
I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of
早
ideas.
っ。
I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.
いいな、情緒壊れてるな。
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
じゃあ違うゲームでも始めよっか。お、なしそうめんさん、こんばんは、初見です。神ゲーやってます。いらっしゃい。
Let's give it a shot.
お、他の誰かが作ったゲームって言ってたよね。 何
Aha!
何これ
Fascinating.
何これ
This game is about, Stanley. What's our backstory?
何これ
What is our motivation?
なんか違う。
Well, it seems obvious
なん
to
か
me
違うの始
that
ま
you're
っ
meant
た。
to play as a
あなたが
creepy
キ
man.
モいやつとしてプレイする。あなたの肝玉から罪のない市民を偵察する。
Perhaps for some sort of twisted
ある種の歪んだ性癖のためにめっちゃ言うやん。
What a fascinating venture into the
うわー。
experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's
キ
even
モ
more.
タワーは言葉
Come,
強いな。
let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
名前がもうひどいよね。キモタワーだって。これさ、英語だとどんな風に表現されてるんだろうね。いや、キモタワー好きだわ。ちょっとレトロだね。なんか FPS ゲーム始まりそうじゃん。この血も涙もないやろめ。ね、ひどいよね。私は楽しく遊んであげてるっていうのに壊せないか。もうちょっとさ、ユーザーにさ、優しくいこうよねえ。めっちゃ楽しい。ね、さっきからボロクソに言ってるけど、マジで神ゲーこれすごいね。
Oh no. No, it can't be.
え、ダメ？何が？左、右に行ってみるか。なんか看板あるね。
It's an open
オ
world
ープ
game.
ンワールドなの？
Quickly block it off.
お
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that
オープンワールドとは
thing. That big open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any.
え、こんな自由を
Oh, thank
自
heavens.
由を奪うオープンワールドゲームあっていいんですか？
Now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
え、
Preferably
ちょ
something
っと
with
自由
you.
奪われたんだけど、オー
Something
プンワー
with
ルドなの
nice,
に。
big,
は
handsome
あ、これ欲しい字
mountain
ですね。何鼻を取ってんてんの。
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
なんか、え？
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get
ちょっと
lost
待って、
in
ロケット
Now
リーグって書いてあ
this
る。
is game design.
おい、これロケットリーグだ
If you
ぞ。
manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally
ロケット
impressed.
リーグ知ってる？本当にあるゲームです。車でサッカーするゲ
Okay,
ーム
so
で
what
す。
exactly do we do here?
ロケットリーグって書いてあるぞ、こ
There are
こ。
lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back
ロケット
here.
リーグは
Is
さ
this
れて
game
る
a。sports ball? Stanley, I think it's
そう、
sports.
車でサッカーするゲームです
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown
ロケッ
together.
トリーグだ。
Yes, I think
いや、
surely
ぽい
we
なと
must.
は思ったけど、
Okay,
そう、書
Stanley,
いてある
here's the
し。
ball. Have fun.
ボール？ロケットリーグのボールだ。ここのさ、俺自身がボールになることだ、じゃない？俺自身がボールになることだじゃない？マジでロケットリーグだ。
Hold on. What are you doing?
あ、落ちた。穴あるとか思わんやん。
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
穴あった。それはちょっと予想してなかった。あ、落ちた。俺自身がゲスガとなることだ。おお、一応戻ってきたのかな、これは。あらあらあら、なんかバックルームみたいだね。バックルームよりもめっちゃ古いゲームなんですけど。お、ナレーションがもう諦めちゃった。何も言わない。顔みたい。迷路かな？あ、こっちか。 あらあらあら、仕事放棄しちゃったナレーション。もうちょっと頑張ろうよ。フォローできませんよとか言ってたね。じゃあ頑張って自力でなんか探すか。まったくもう。っていうか自作ゲームやらせてる時にさ、他のゲーム開くってのもどうかと思うんだよね。どこ行ってないんだっけ。あ、なんか明かりがついてる。まあ行ってやるか。行ってやるか。あ、ん？あ、電源切れない。ダメか。切れないか。こっち入れる？入れないね。あ、安定した。
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now.
なんで？
I wonder if he's happy with his choice.
私は満足してるよ。だってめっちゃ情緒壊せたじゃん。楽しい。
He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up
カオ
in
ス、
the
恐
end
怖、そして
to
コン
make
トロール開
sense
始。
out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world.
はい。
Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to
戻
a
ってくるん
close,
だ。
then I'll be back.
頑張って。
The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
めっちゃおもろいこのゲーム。あ、ロード。あ、本当だ、戻ってきた。戻ってきた。でもナレーションが違う。のかな
？He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
あら。ニューゲーム始まったね。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
ねえ。次やってみたいことがあるんだけど、聞いてくれる？これさ、右のドアに進んだらさ、なんか次は左のドアに入ったって言われたやん。あ、マウスが。そこで一旦左のドアに入ってみて、でその後なんか脇道にそれそうなところがあったら脇道に沿ってみようよ。中途半端に言うこと聞いて、中途半端に言うこと聞かないってことやってみたくない？面白そうじゃない？やってみようよ。やってみようよ。
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly,
あ、もう混乱してる。
madly, love.
あ、すごく混乱してる。
Yes, really worth it being here.
ちょっと諦め入ってる。
A room so utterly captivating.
諦め入ってるちょっと。
All your co-workers have mysteriously vanished. Here you sit looking at these chairs and some
いい部屋だよね。
Really worth it.
憩いの場だよね。憩いの場だからもうちょっといてみる？いや、いる意味があるって言われちゃったしね。じゃあちょっと言うこと聞いてみようか。
And reflected poorly on his overall
人格を反映していまし
It's
た。
possible that this is why everyone left.
すごいボロクソに言うじゃん。なんかこれぞ指示中って感じ。
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
めたい。メタ入ってきたよ。もうちょっといとく？なんかロッカーみたいな感じでいとく？次のセリフないかな？待ってるんだけどな。なんだ、ジュースも買えないのか。スタンリーお金持ってない？持ってないんだ。 あ、何も言ってくれないっぽい。じゃないか。進むか。
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
で、今まで私はこれ無視してまっすぐ行ってたやん。行ってみようか、左。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
このまままっすぐ行けって言ってるけど、なんかさ、これにさ、興味を持つなって方が無理じゃない？だって空いてるし、下に行きまーすの、下に参りまーすのボタンがあるやん。いやー、気になるなー。ねえ、ルート通りに行かせたいんだったらさ、こんなもん用意してる方が悪いよね。あ、それポチッとな。ほら、動いちゃった。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's,
左？
left.
左？あ、左に行くしかない。左行くか。
Oh, no.
あ、え？
No, it's to the right. My mistake.
あっちが右？はい。
No,
違う？
no, not
どっ
the
ち
right.
どこ
Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
あらあらあらあら、混乱してる混乱してる。やったら楽しい。
It's clearly... Oh,
すごい
dear,
すごい
hold
す
on
ごい。
to
破
the
壊してるね。慣れた。
Now, let's see. Went
慣れたってか
down,
ゲームマスターか
left,
な？
down,
どっちかっていうと。
left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This
はいはい。
story is absolutely, definitely
お、
this
そっちか。
way.
シャッター。そこが開くか。他どっか行けそうなところは？うん、行けそうなところはないですね。ないですね。先行ってみるか。さあ、どんどん地下に潜っていきますけど。なんかバイオハザードでこんななかった？バイオ5でこんな部屋？
No.
あらあらあらあらあら
This
あ
isn't
ら
right at all.
あ
You're
ら。
not supposed to be
各
here
やん、
yet.
監
This
視
is
カメ
all
ラ
a
だ。
spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to Oh,
あらあらあ
who
ら
am
あ
I
ら。
kidding? It's all rubbish now.
あらあらあらあら。
The story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to
シナリオ崩壊しちゃった？
we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
また戻った。今度どうしよっかな。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he'd simply missed a memo.
次は例えばパソコンは切っといて、パソコンは切っといて、あ、これ切れないんだ。入れない。こっち開かない？開かない。あ、いつ？
When Stanley... Wait,
え？
Wait, what?
増えてない？
No,
ドアめっちゃ増えてない？
started. I swear I definitely
あれ？
restarted the game over completely fresh.
1、2、3、4、5、
Everything should
6、
be...
7。
Did something change?
あれ？
Stanley, did you change
あれ？
anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
バグってますよ。
Did you move the story somewhere or...
増えた。
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago.
はいはいは
I
い。
know for sure that it's here
はいはい
somewhere.
はい。
Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
新しい部屋行ってみたいよね。 おおおお迷路だ。ああ、明るい。はい。一番最悪の冒険？あ、戻ってきた。
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by
投
starting
げやりだね、
over
完
and
全に
again.
ね。
But it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
もしかしてまた戻される？戻された。てかパソコンの位置変わってない？ここにあったよね。気のせいかな？
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
パソコンは全部落としといて。あれ？あ、切れた切れた。勝ち。あ、切れた切れた。勝ち。さっきのドア、部屋どうなってるかな？ない。今度はドアがない。
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering
どこにも行けない。
It's possible the story is back where we just came
どこも
from.
行けなくなった。
Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
戻れって？はい。マジで草。はい、どこまで戻ればいいんですか？あ、もう最初の部屋まで？
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
あ、
The
変わってる。
story. Here it
違う部屋に来た。スタンリーの部屋じゃない。
No, wait.
あ、
Never
ない。
mind. Not the story.
行き止まりじゃん。
Let's head back the
はい
other
はいはい。
way
戻ります
and
戻ります。
retrace
戻
our
り
steps.
ますとも。マジでまた変わった。
Now
ね
this.
えねえ、どこここ
Well,
ど
I'll
こ
be
ここ
honest. I don't recognize this place at all.
見
Is this
覚え
the
ない
story?
ね。
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building.
オフィスビルには見えないよね。
Do you remember, Stanley?
ホラーゲーの舞台になり
Since
そ
I've
う。
completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this?
廃
You
屋だよね。
win!
あ、勝った。なんか知らんけど勝った。
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work,
なんか
and
勝
it
った
really
わ。
paid off. So, good job. Oh no.
なんか勝ったわ。
I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put
You
in any
win.
actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is.
あ、
I
引い
don't
て
care
るんです
what
ね。
might happen this time. I have to
あ、また
restart.
リスタートすんの？ね、ちょっと待ってよ。
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. As simple as that.
ザ・スタンリー・パラボル遊びじゃない。この通りに引けてきてる。すごいすごいすごい。ガイドマーカーじゃん。なんかお使いクエスト、RPG のお使いクエストに出てくるガイドラインじゃん。あ、なんか違うとこ行けって言われてる。どうする？こっち行ってみよっか。いや、私の人生は私が決めますから。誰かに強制されるものではないんですよ。
No, no, I'm done. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
しゃーなしかー。しゃーなしかー。まあ、ここにしか行けないんだったら、まあ、ここに行くしかないか。なんかソリティアしてない？しかも切れないんだけど。ソリティアしてる。真面目に仕事してない。めっちゃおもろい。何これ？アドベンチャーラインだって。
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
これ曲がる必要あるのかな。
Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right?
こっち行ける
Now,
ね。
if my experience of your existence
閉まってない
rests
ね。
inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize.
あ、見失っちゃった。じゃあ私がこっち行ってもいいよ
I
ね。
think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
なんか流れ始めた。あー、アドベンチャーライン戻ってきた。うるさ。この音楽うるさ。あ、結局一周してくるからここに来ないといけないのか。音でっか。うるさ。あ、結構好きかも。アドベンチャーライン？アドベンチャーライン？なんか迷走してないアドベンチャーライン。なんか蛇行してるし。おお、さすがに壁は走れないぞ。はてな。あ、違った。おお、パソコンついてないな。ああ、アドベンチャーラインくん。稲妻みたいにピカチュウの尻尾みたいになっちゃって。こっちはいけないか。まっすぐにね。はいはいはい。なんだ変わった。道が変わった。
Cut the music.
ありがとうござい
Go
ます。
back and look at that fern.
はい。
Wait, what? We're back at the office?
オフィスに戻ったけど。
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the
Stanley
Stanley
Parable,
Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
分かれてるけど。あ、戻ってきた。これはこっち行ったらいいのかな。あれまたここ来た。
No, not
まだこ
again.
こ
Line,
来
how
た。
could you have done this to us after we trusted you? After everything we've
ア
been
ドベン
through?
チャーライン
You...
くん。
No, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
リスタートした。まだいる。まだアドベンチャーラインいるぞ。あ、勝ち。
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for
Hi.
us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something
Hi.
exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
アドベンチャーラインくん、見捨てられた。もうぐにゃーだよ、こんなの。
Yes, this is exciting.
So
Just me and
exciting.
Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story
ぐ
to
るぐる回っ
be?
てない？
Go wild. Use your imagination.
おお、
Whatever
な
it
かな
might
か
be,
なんかもう
Stanley.
地形が歪んでる。
I'm ready for it.
すごく地形が歪んでる。
Oh no, not you again.
あ ドベンチャーラインく
I'd also
ん。
like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. You should be fine.
アドベンチャーラインくん。でも一本道だね。あ、いなくなった。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How
ティーマー
important
クさ
we
ん。
mustn't squander
で、
the
アマリスさんめっ
opportunity.
ちゃ面白いこの
I
ゲーム。い
believe
ら
I
っし
need a
ゃい
minute。to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay,
何
so I
何
know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere the place where we're
1分間
trying to
ぐるぐる回
go
ってみ
there
ましょうは
must
意
be
味
a
わからん。
reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination
何これ何これ何これ何
corresponds
これ
with the counter-inverted
何これ何さ
reverse
せられてん
door's
の
origin.
何させら
So
れてんのこ
starting
れ
from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where
何
we're
させられてん
going?
の
And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one.
右のド
Another
ア
victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
だいぶシリーズ始めた後、あ、知ってるんだこのゲーム。混乱エンド。
Oh, hold up, what's this? Oh. The confusion
メン
in
テナン
there.
スルームからそれを最終的にモニタールームへ。
That's what this
な
is.
んか、混乱エンドで生き方
One
書いてない。
ending? And we're supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how all
ついに
this
スタンリーが死ぬって書いてあるんだけど。え、何
gets
知るの
determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide?
混
Maybe
乱
I
エン
did
ド
a sing
か
all of
わい
this.
そ
Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't
う。すごく
do
混
it.
乱してるね。
And the timer
タイマー止まった。
stopped. Does that mean did we do it?
え、抜
Did
け
we
出した
break
ルー
the
プから。
cycle? The whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
出られない。
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure
で
if
も
we're in
ス
the
トーリーの一部
destination
って言って
or
も
the
エン
journey.
ドって書いて
Though
ある
they're
よ。
always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you
なになになにあ、戻ってきた。戻ってきた。
all of his co-workers were
戻
gone,
ってきた。
what could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
え
Perhaps
ー、
he
戻
had
ってき
simply
た。
missed a memo.
リスタートしちゃった。あ、カチッと。あ、それカチッと。え、今度どうなるんだろう。でもエンドって書いてあったよ。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
次何しようか。次何する？一旦ちょっと指示通りに進んでみる？今度は素直に。一旦ちょっと進んでみるか、指示通りに。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
はい。行ってみますか。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
Yeah,
upstairs
really?
to his boss's office.
ああ、一回来たね、ここね。ん？because the boss know That what the boss song goes? If the boss is Safito? Loose? Then that what the boss close? なんて言ってるか全くわかりません。トイレですね。ただのトイレか。ちょっと意味がわからない。英語わかんない。英語わかんない。あら、切れない。なんだろうこれ。あ、開く。あれこっち前来た時来れなかったよね。エレベーターあ、一旦ちょっと指示通りに行くって言ったけどさ、宣言撤回しようよ、こんなの。どうする？どこ行く？上か下か。上行ってみよっか。なんかおしゃれな BGM がすごいおしゃれな BGM が指示通りに行くって言ったら全言撤回します。まだまだいじめられそうですね。もっといじめちゃおっか。楽しい楽しい。なんかだってさっきさ、シャークネードなんちゃらかんちゃらって言われてても入力してないもんね。シャークネード？ダークシャーク？なんだっけ？長いな、エレベーター。エレベーターだいぶ長いな。だいぶ長いな、エレベーター。ピンポーン。ループしてんだけど。なんかループしてんだけど。もう一回は行ってみようか。ナイトシャークか。今ここでさ、スターリーって言ったよね。スターリーってマジで言ってさ。おもろ。ちょっと ASMR やめてもらえますか？おもろ。ちょっとやめてくれますと息。じゃあね、これさ、何ボタンを押したらすぐ止まっちゃう系？じゃあもうちょっと待ってみようか。もうちょっと待ってみようか。ちょっと雑談タイムですね。RTA でイライラタイムかな。ナイトシャークなんだっけ。ワンなんちゃらかんちゃら。ごめんなさい。間に合わなかった。くしゃみ。しかもだいぶのぶといやつ。左遷。なんか花粉飛び始めてない？気のせい？ダメか。ささやき声嫌だな。助かった。マイルストーンちゃんとセンキュー。助からないで。よいしょ。諦めるか。一旦じゃあ諦めるか。あれ？
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845?
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845? でもさ、パスワードってさ、基本3回まで間違えられるやん。みもりみまりの誕生日は
Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
デビュー日は0501
2845.
あとなんかあるかな、なんか記念日。あ、次の大会のコストは0550。あとなんかあるかな。あ、大会の日程しようか。
Turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
えらいこっちゃえらいこっちゃって言ってる。あ、ダメか。えらいこっちゃって言ったナレーション。えらいこっちゃね。あらあらあらあら。またなんか雲行き怪しいけど、ナレーターさん、これは大丈夫ですか？だいぶ雲行き怪しいですけど、こういうところに来たらだいぶ崩壊するって私もなんだけど。エレベーターが下に。めっちゃ業務用エレベーターですけど、これ。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
正しいのか。
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
あ、ピー。戻れた。
Never mind. Stanley actually
戻れた。
and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
はいはいはい。喉入りました。あ、ボタンなくなった？あるわ。よかった。あ、押せなくなった。くそ、押せなくなった。仕方ないか、戻るか。
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
で、何しろって？戻るか。エレベーターもっと使えないかな？使える！あ、よいしょ。使える！いいな、いいな、もっと始めたい。いっぱい始めよう。パチ。
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor?
不気味な廊下すねく思いました？残念、行かないんですね。
I can't even begin to grapple with what might be out there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time?
指示いじめるのめっちゃおもろい。なんかそっきで向いてるんだよね。また押せるようになったら来よう。オフィスに戻ってきた。ん？
Oh my god.
なんか BGM 増えた。
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
なんか始まった。なんか始まった。なんか始まった。何これ。待機画面始まったんだけど。
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait.
ない。
No, I need
もっと
more
時間いる？
time to process.
また待たされるんだけど。何、放送事故かな？大丈夫？ナレーター？おもろー。キラキラ笑ってやる。なんかさ、正直さ、面白いゲームだと思ってた
I
けど、
have fully come
こ
to
こまで面白いと思ってなかっ
I
た。
have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality.
はい。
As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
はい。投げっぱですか、もしかして。投げっぱですか、物語。あ、ポチ。
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it?
あ、ポ
I mean,
チ。
sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is.
いいな、確かにこれはね、ド S 認定されても仕方ないかな。これはド S だわ。あ、ポチ。もう何回か繰り返してみようよ。もうちょっといじめたいな。
You know what?
あのさ、
I just thought of something. Hold
な
on,
んか
let's
今思っ
stop
たんだ
for
け
a
ど、ちょっと待って、一回止めよう。はい。
Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley.
開かなくなった。
You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
おっそ。
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think, and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley.
驚かせてくれるストーリーが欲しいの？
I want to be
わかった、任せて。
standard to.
いっぱい驚かせてあげるから。
Unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better.
なんか全然知らないとこ来た。あ、押せない。すごい高級ホテルみたいな。
The room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
戻れない。何これ何これ何これ。レッドカーペット敷いてあるんだけど。あらあらあらあら、まあまあまあまあ。 ごいおもてなしじゃん。
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
はい、知らないか。あれ
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a
舞台
little
裏
bit
だ。
about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley.
これ多分ここに座れって言われてるよね。
Go get 'em.
ガンバ。こっち行ってみよう。怖っ。目みたい。怖っ。427だね。でも何のアクションもできないから、ここはおとなしく従うものか。一旦戻る。はぁ、戻れない。うわ、やってくれたな。まあまあまあまあ、しゃあないか。これはこれで知らない展開だ。何？え？何？ライブ会場？東京ドーム？何？ライブ？ミボにより 3D ライブ始まる？あと音うっさ。うっさ。戻ってきた。戻ってきた。
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I
ナレー
need.
ション変わった。
If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
ナレーション変わったってことはまだ展開変わるな、これ。おもろ。あ、ポチ。あ、ポチ。おの、おのって。おのパン、おのパン。あ？
Oh, new content?
ニュー
What
コ
does
ン
that
テンツ
mean?
だ。
New
ニ
content.
ューコンテンツだ。ナレーションが知らないってことは、これまた混乱してくれる？なんか四方八方から襲ってくるのを弾幕で撃ち落としそうなゲームだ。
and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
いえいえ、どういたしまし
As you may
て。
know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in
2013
2013 on
年めっ
home
ちゃ前だ。
computers.
10年前じゃん。
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022
あ、2000
with the Stanley Parable
去年なん
Ultra
だ。
Deluxe,
あ、
a
おととしか。
reimagining of the game for consoles
へ
and
ー
home computers.
ザ・スタンリー・パ
The
ラダイス
Stanley
の
Parable Ultra
パラブルの
Deluxe features exciting new
歴史？
content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the
ってこ
world
とはこ
over.
れ追加コンテンツだよね、これが。まさに。
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
だが断る。断れない。
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special
特
yet,
別なこと
but
ない？
I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
あれ？
Is
動
it
かない。
What's
ニューコン
going
テン
on
ツ
here?
は？
Should we be moving somewhere or oh,
Ah,
here we
wait,
go.
wait,
All
wait.
right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Do it! Do it! なんか Do it ってあったよね、なんか。ネットミーム。
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if some... Oh, okay. Let's see the content.
めっちゃ
Give me
言う
the
やん。
content, Stanley.
なんかすごい殺風景。
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
何？めんどくさ。
Is that it?
めんどくさ。
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
あんなやってられっか。
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, Initial impressions
待
of
って
this
で
game
もさ
are
ナ
not
レーター
good.
さんさっきさ
It's just
混乱
elevators
した
and
末に
jumps.
出してきたゲーム
Is this
相当
what
ひどかっ
passes
たけ
for
ど
exciting new
人のこと言え
content?
ないんじゃない
If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content.
20 時間分の新
I
コンテ
could
ンツ
counter 30 trillion.
大ボリュームや
Bet on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
1000時間
Now
超える
there's
新コンテン
1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it
すごい
is.
オフィスっぽいとこ来た。これは Thank you for enjoying
it?
the new content.
You've
終わっ
got
た
to be kidding
New
me. You
content
see,
終わった
Stanley? This is what happens when
New
greedy
content
video
終わっ
game
た
developers with no respect for their fan base
え、
rush
た
a
だジャン
cheap
プするだけのゲー
expansion
ム
to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of
just do
craftsmanship
it.
that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, Test achievement, please ignore. What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally
まだ
accountable.
ツイッターの時代なんだ
It's my
X です
fault,
よ
Stanley.
も
I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such
う言ってあ
expectations.
なたが出してきた新コンテンツもまあまあだったよ
Why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about? No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like
い
always.
いよ一緒に遊んであ
What do
げ
you
る
say, friend?
いいよ一緒に遊んであげるねこっちの答え待ってないねあれもう違うけどもう違うゲームだけど
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
いらないいらないいらないこっちの方が楽しそ
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine.
いらないいらない
You're a dork anyway, so
うどうせお前はダサいしうわだるめっちゃおるやんこいつそんな罵倒するやつの言うことなんか聞いてあげない
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
あ普通に戻ってきたあ普通に戻ってきた
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
普通に戻ってきた
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
あ、全然違った。2845ね。
Stanley couldn't possibly have known.
次はちゃんと入力してみようか。2845
Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
待って、さっき見たとこじゃないこれ。戻ってきた一瞬待って。あ、何？もしかしてパスワード間違えてもこれ強制的に生かされるやつだった？じゃあまっすんでみるか、しゃあない。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
Mind
read
Control
Mind Control
Factory.
Facility.
あれさっき見たとこだ。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
あ、ねえ、あれさっき言ったとこじゃないあれ。あれさっき言ったとこでしょ。 しょよいしょよいしょ。カメラをオン。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
621あ、621ない。621なかった。くそ。あ、ポチ。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
で
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
感動的なストーリ
It was unthinkable.
ードキドキハラハラする
Was
ス
it
トー
even
リー
possible? Had he truly spent
なん
his
かそんな感じ
entire
のこと
life
言ってたよ
utterly
ね。
blind to the world?
わあ、すっごくチ
It
ー
was
プ
the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
どっか行けない？無視してどっか行けない？あ、行けなさそう。上とか行けない？あ、行けなさそう。どっかで何をするって？あ、下に入れってことかな。そんなことなかった。ド S にコントロールされてますね、スタンリー君。あれ ?2、1。なんだお前なんだお前急に不親切になるじゃん。なんだお前。あ、なんか向こうにもボタンあるわ。あー、1、2、3、4、5。やれってことか。愛しちょっと覚えとこう。あれ ?3 と4がないね。3と4がないね。あったあったあったあった。3。4は1、2、3、4。4？ 4？ 出るか、外。これは
And when at last he found the source of the room's power.
なんかさ、指示通りに進めたらさ、すっごくチープなんだけど、ナレーションさん。はい、こんばんは、初見です。いらっしゃい、シオンさん。めっちゃナレーションいじめるの楽しいです。何この神ゲー。なんか指示通りに動いてみたらすごくチープなんだけど。
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
感動的
even
な
as
ス
the
トーリ
immense
ー。
door slowly
ハラハラ
opened,
ドキドキするストーリ
Stanley
ー。
reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this
あなたい
strange
じめて
building
た方が
hold?
楽しかったよ。
But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
はい。
And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
開かれたドア。あ、これか。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his
なんかい
skin.
い感じの
Feeling of
エンディングっ
liberation,
ぽい雰囲気出
the
してる
immense
けど、
possibility of the new path before him.
もうちょっと困らせてみるか、
This was exactly the
このエンディン
way,
グ終わったら。
right now, that things were
さっ
meant
き
to
さ、
happen.
通気口入らなかったや
And
ん。
Stanley
通気口入ってみる
was
次。
happy.
実績解除された。うんだよね。あれあれあれ
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
わかったわかったわかった。見てあげるから。じゃあ話やで。これ結局生かされるパターンのやつだったんだ。あと何やってないんだ
Okay,
ろ
you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned
Ah,
out to be
yes,
when it got me
よかったよね。
thinking about the past and
ただ
how
ジャンプ
much
するだ
better
け
the
だったよね。
Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
あれなんか、インディ・ジョーンズみたいな。あれ
I call it the
ザ・
memory
メモリー
zone.
ゾーン。
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want.
それは素晴ら
Experiences
し
like
い。
the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
はい、あ、なんか電話がある。ダメか。
You see,
2013
Stanley,
年。
doesn't the memory zone
発
remind
売
you
され
of
た
how
日だ。
wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game
2013年
originally
10
launched?
月なんだね。
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something.
なるほど。
Oh, the waste.
つまり今のゲームはなっていないとおっしゃりたいわけですか。今のゲームも面白いんだけど。ででなんか終わりそうな空気感出してるけど。あ、これ本当に受賞したやつかな。
Reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
まあでも
James
確かに
Stephanie Sterling writes,
す
and I
ごいゲ
quote,
ームではあると思う。本当
Where
に。
so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created.
あ、これずっと聞かないといけないパターン。
It was Persona 3.
ちょっと
It
手
was
短にお
all
願
of them.
いしま
And
す。
now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable
ボロクソ
anymore.
に言うやん、自分の
Just
ゲ
a
ームを。
husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
あ、開いた。一旦下行ってみようか。いけないか。いけそうだと思ったんだけどな。どっか寄り道できない。寄り道できない。寄り道できない。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
でもちょっと話長いかな。
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go
これもし
back.
かして指示中じゃなくて解雇中だった？
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone
お
before.
っと
What's this? What's
あら？
down here?
なんか様子が
Oh God, no! Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game
何
distributor.
レビューひどい
I
の？
haven't looked at these in years.
あらあらあ
I
らあ
can't
らあ
even
ら
imagine what's been collecting
あ
down
らあら
here.
あらあらあら
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
あ、パッとついてる
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious
ナ
and
レーターが深いの面白くない
unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more
言われてやんの
irritating
言われ
than
てやんの
entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
あ
Trying to make
あ
a serious work
も
of
っと
art.
真摯に受
I
け取ろ
suppose
う
I could
よ
write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable.
ほら
But
グッ
the
ドもあ
game
る
is
から
already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insight
私はあなたのこと面白いと思うよ
that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
すごくなんだろう殴ったらとても良くなるおもちゃみたいですごくあなたのナレーション好きですよ本当にいじめがいがあるというかだから私は高評価つけてあげますよゲームに対してはナレーションまあさっき評価位置つけたんですけどもまあでもあなたのことは私は面白いと思うよとてもいいおもちゃですさっき言ってみよっかよく音が鳴るおもちゃなことで指示に従ってきた人たちも逆らいたくなるよわざと殴る話なんだろうね理由がド S いやまあねド S 疑惑がある Vtuber なのですごく楽しい低評価バットあらバットバット
Okay,
バッ
let's see
ト
what this one says.
これでもグッドあるよグッド
The game is good. For someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying
言われてやんの
fast. Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I?
よし正直結構説教臭いかな
Oh goodness, this is actually quite
説
shocking for me.
教臭いか
I
な
always, well, to be
いや
honest,
いい
I
と
had
思うよ
always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with.
不愛想か
You
な
can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it. Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
だいぶ自己評価間違ってる
What
か
an
な
awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record.
いやでもその説教臭さのいじりがいがあるんだって
Like I let these
いい
people
よ
down.
大丈夫あなたは間違
Perhaps
って
the
ない
Stanley
そのままでい
Parable
て
isn't
本
quite as
当に面
sterling
白い
as
から
I've
ね
always remembered.
本当に面白いからね先行きますかいいねボロクソに言われてるのを慰めるのも楽しいね慰めてから殴るんだよ吊り橋効果やばいこれなんかDV 彼氏みたいな言い分だ慰めてから殴る殴ってから慰めるマッチボンプだ
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a
スキッ
skip
プボタン
button.
は賞味欲しい
A skip button.
沈んでいった
Well, yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
ちょっと
That's my motto
いや
today, and it's always
賛否
been
両
my
論
motto.
あってこその評価だから
I keep anything to the customer stand.
低評価
Yes,
否定して
a
て
skip
始まんない
button
よ
we shall have.
ねちゃんとした理由がある低評価だったらそれは価値のある低評価だから でもただのアンチのことは気にしないでいいよ。いやでもそこはね、真摯に受け止めてこそが真のナレーターですよ。そんなことだからプレイヤーの突飛な行動を予測できなくて混乱エンドみたいなことになるんだよ。ちゃんと受け止めていたらそんなことにはならないんじゃない？先行きましょう。へそ曲げたナレーションに母性と暴力発揮しないで。だって面白いんだもん。
And here it is. Go
Skip
ahead and
button.
give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the
ポ
second...
チ。あ、ポチ。
Oh, you're back, you see. You were
Skip
only
button.
frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue for...
ポチ。
Well, there's sport.
Cut,
You
cut,
really
cut,
did
cut,
catch
cut,
me
cut, cut.
rambling on a bit, didn't you?
Cut, cut, cut,
But
cut,
that's
cut,
the
cut, cut,
part
cut,
of
cut,
the
cut, 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 cut,
The
cut.
minute I
Ah,
started to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been sitting is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe...
あ、よしよしよしよし、はいポチ。
Stanley!
はい、なん
Stanley!
でしょう。
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been
押さないでほ
12
しい。
hours.
でもそれって
You've
さ、
just been
押す
frozen.
なよ押すなよってやつじゃない？でも押すなよ押すなよだよね。
Oh,
不利
Stanley,
だよね。絶対不利だよね。
you're back. Oh my goodness. I had
いや
someone to
ー、日
talk
本の
to.
ユーモアよくわかってるよね。いや、鉄板だよね。押すなよ押すなよっていうのは結構伝統的なやつだもんね。うん。とてもとても君、日本の芸能界でもやっていけるんじゃない？
Hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us.
あ、何も言わなくなっちゃった。何も言わなくなっちゃった。ああ、もしかしてもうやめちゃったこのゲーム。あ、ポチ。ピーピーなんだろう。あ、押せない。ピーピー。ちょっとうるさいんでポチ。
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny.
めっ
It was
ちゃ
meant
怒
to
って
have
る、
a
めっちゃ怒っ
point.
てる、めっ
It
ちゃ
was
怒っ
meant
て
to
る。
speak to the
めっ
human
ちゃ怒ってる、めっちゃ
condition.
怒って
But
る。
where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned. They screamed. They
Ah,
gnashed
pochi.
their teeth.
またへそ曲げちゃった。そろそろいじめるのやめてあげる？そろそろ慰めのパートに入ってみる？あ、ポチ。
The end is never the end is never the end.
あ、やんじゃったやんじゃったやんじゃった。やんじゃったやんじゃった。壊れちゃった壊れちゃった。わ、壊れちゃった。ちょっとこれ聞いてみようか。ちょっと聞いといてあげようか。え、話聞いてほしかったんだよね。スキープボタン押してほしくなかったんだよね。ほら、しばらく押さないで置いてあげるから、ほら、話しな。話せないこといっぱいあったんでしょ？そっか。ああ、話したいことないんだ。仕方ないね。ポチ。黙ってた。そろそろ本当に壊れちゃったかな？おもちゃ壊れちゃった？ポチ。おっと荒廃してきたぞ。あれから100年の時が経ったみたいな感じかな。人類は戦争によって滅びもしくは宇宙人の侵攻を受けて滅びエイリアンどもがマッコする世界になってしまった本当に滅びた後だねえ、ちょっとニーヤオートマタインみたいになってきたんだけど、滅びたところに草木が生い茂って、多分上には機械生命体たちがいてアンドロイドと戦ってるんだよ。こっち。ああ。で、何もなくなったと。もうナレーターも死んじゃったかな。この後ろなんかない？何もないね。あ、ポチ。もしかして地球、惑星そのものが滅びかけてる？先ほどまで見てたけどスキップしすぎでは、いや、押すなよですよ、これは。あ、スキップボタン。スキップボタン。あ、外に入れれる。カチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチカチ壊れちゃった。 仕方ないな。先行ってみるか。砂漠だー滅びちゃった世界。滅びちゃったーでもさ、スキップボタン実装してくれたんだからね。いや、この地平線はどこまで続いてるんだろうな。楽しみだな。神ゲーです、これはもう。きっとスタンリーはこの後砂漠で迷って命を落とすでしょう。水も食料もないんだ。水も食料もスキップボタンもないんだ。あ、戻ってきた。
Stanley knew the office layout like the back
あ、
of
戻っ
his
てきた、
hand.
戻ってきた、戻っ
It
てき
was
た。
only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
でもナレーションやっぱちょっと変わってるね。押せない押せない。押せない押せない押せない。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
あ、そんなのあるん
Nor
だ。
did it advance the story in any way.
あ、押せないや。あ、ポチ。シャットダウンじゃなくて強制終了なのがミソですよね。強制終了は壊れるもんね、パソコンがね。なんか入れって言われてる。行ってみるか、ニューコンテンツ。
Oh, good. You noticed my son.
いや、そりゃ気づく
I
で
have
しょ
something very exciting to show you.
仕方ない。言ってあげるか。そりゃあんなでかでかとねあったらね。あ、ここさっきも見たな。ねえ、水も食料もないし積んだね。リスタートしてくれてよかった。じゃあさっきと何が違うんだろう。もう説教臭いのは勘弁しておくれよ。
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about
Hi.
how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
あ、やっぱり説教臭い
Stanley
か。
Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy.
やっぱ説教
So
臭い
forget
か。
this ultra deluxe
そっか。
nonsense. I say we take it one
おっと、
step
真っ
even
暗になった。
further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable.
続編できちゃった。あれ新作発表ですか？
Yes, you see,
おかしいな。
it's
タイトル
far
違
superior
うんだけど
to
な、
a
このゲーム。
measly re-release with a few minor additions. Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully
でもさ、
fledged sequel. An
なんか、
entirely new experience built from the ground up. Why there are so many
でもさ、
possibilities.
でも
It
さ、
could go in so many different directions.
2って
This
書い
is
てある
what
ゲームって
fans
さ、
have truly been
クオリ
asking
ティアッ
for.
プしてるか、クオリティダウンしてるかの2択だと思うんだよね。同クオリティはないからさ、クオリティダウンじゃないことを祈るよ。なんかさ、めっちゃつまんなくなるパターンあるやん、続編って。いやー、このナレーターの言うことだからちょっと不安だな。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe.
ウルトラ
don't
デ
you
ラック
think?
スのキャッチーな
Ultra
の？
Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
でもスタンリーパラブル2は正直作ってほしい。正直作ってほしい。これだけ面白いんだったら。正直本当に作ってほしい。でもナレーターが作ってるんでしょ？それはちょっと不安だな。ね、また君かだよね。あらあらあらあら。
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be.
実際開
But
発中っ
let's
てこ
take a
と？
look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
開発中って
I
こ
figure
と？
that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
そうなんだ。きっと発売日1週間前に全部作り直してデバッグ処理も終わりきってなくてリリースしちゃって敵エンカウントリスに苦情が入るんだよ。ドラクエ2ってそんな感じだったんだ。でも未完成のまま発表しちゃうゲームってあるよね。あるよね。で、とんでもないクソゲーになっちゃう続編っていうのもあるよね。そうそう、こんな感じでニューってついてあるプラモデルゲームがとんでもないクソゲーになったよね。まあまあまあ、進んでみるか。まあまあまあまあまあ。こんだけ言うんだったらさぞ面白いゲームなんだろうね。
Here we are. Go
なんかいる。
on. Try out some of
なん
the
かいる。なんかセレモニーみたいになってる。何あれ？そんなガンブレ知らないですね。何あれ？これ421ってこと？ 427 かってこと？ Can you find them? Can you find them? Can you find them? ちょっと一回戻ってみよう。あれはモデラー御用達。まあまあ、モデラーとしてね、のゲームとしてはまあ、ありか。ちょっと待て。
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good
おい
idea.
おい、ちょ
I'd
っ
like to hang
と
on to
雲
that
行き怪しいぞ。これあなたがクソゲーって言ったジャンプゲームですけど。621に引っ張られた。まあ、今度は最後までやってみるか。あれでもこれあなたが酷評してたゲームですよ。ちょっと雲行き怪しいか？ではいクソゲー、はいクソゲー、すごいクソゲー。
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm
あれ
undecided
採用
on
してる時点で
Get
ダメで
Well
しょう。
Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
ザ・スタンリー・パラブル2。さあ、ウェルサムでいい。ハッピー12歳バースデーステップ。ハッピーバースデーにするか。
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
あれ私右側押したんだけど。あれクソゲーかな？ちょくちょくクリアに見えるク
Maybe
ソ。
I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
いや、だいぶつまらないけどな。スタンリー・パラブル2。あれ
For the Stanley Parable 2,
あれ
I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
はい。ロードトゥーパーフェクトポ。スモール押せない。スモール押せない。じゃあ、でっかくに。押せないんですけど。おーっと、押せないがじゃあ、ほっとこう。押せないボタンに価値はない。じゃあ、ボタン、That says the name。あなたの名前を読みますよ、と。
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now,
はい、クソゲー
the button says the name Jim. But of course, in the
あなた
final
の名前
game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim
え、
to
ジム
really
にされるの
simulate the full
私は
experience
ジム
of
で
this
す。い
feature. Just play along. I promise
や、
you'll
ジ
love
ム、
it.
ジムよりザク
Okay,
がいい
here
な。
we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself.
だるいだるいだるい。
Whoa, hold on.
だるいだるいだるい。
I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button.
コンジブリンやめてくれ。
It's just a stupid
アホ
button
み
that
たい
says
なボタン
somebody
でしかありません。
else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me
カチカ
finish
チカチカチカチカ
first.
チ。貴様の言う通りになんかしてやるものか。
Allow yourself to become Jim. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. You happy now? Get out of here.
カチカチカチカチカチカチカチ
Why
カ
don't
チ。
you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
もうちょっと精度上げてから置くべきじゃないです
See,
か。
if you'd only played along, that would have been your name.
Jim,
the button said.
Jim.
No. Instead, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Jim.
あ、押せなくなっちゃった。押せなくなっちゃった。やっぱいじめるの面白いな。本当によく大人なるおもちゃなことで。これは押せないね。戻るか。今んとこだいぶクソゲーですけど、スタンリーパラブル2。
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
だいぶ見切り発車ですかね。セッティングワールドチャンピオン、無限の穴、フリー実績。無限の穴興味あるな。これさっき言ったか。じゃあいいや。ほなこっち？セッティングワールドチャンピオン。じゃあ最初から案内出すな。最初から案内出すな。フリーニューイージーアク。諦めた。ここは
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
はい。ガチャは悪い
Okay,
文明。
perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I
ア
promise
ー
it
チムー
will
ブ
happen.
メントは壊れて期待した私がバカだったかなこれは。要するに何かもらえるよってこと、何ももらえなかった。嘘つき。もうお前のことなんて信用する
What
か。
else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
大体全部見たんじゃないですか。まあもうクソゲーしかないこと分かったので先に進みますか。
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley
いやい
figurines.
や、そういう収集要素いらないか
Is
ら。
that there will be no reward for collecting all of
全
them.
部集めたところで
I
報酬
don't
が
want
な
to
い。
stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the
え、
hell on
待
with
って、
your
究極のクソゲー来た。究極のクソゲー来た。集めたところで何もない。怖っ。ホラーやん。これさ、撃ちたい。撃ちたい。バイオハザード的にはこれめっちゃ撃ちたい。そういうアイテムじゃん。パーンって。で、コレクトセムオール。
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they
最
give
悪
you
な
a
ことに
big
なる。
fancy
はい。
reward for it.
はい。
Absolutely tragic.
そろそろ帰らせてくれませんか？そろそろ帰らせてくれませんか？ちょっともうクソゲーやりたくないです。帰り道どこです
A
か？
common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this
やっ
fundamental
ぱり石油
problem.
臭いの治ってませんね。
It's the Stanley Parable reassurance
安
bucket.
心のバケ
You
ツ。
see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind
ちょっ
and
と
your
理
heart.
解できないし、本当にバケツ
As long as you hold onto the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will
いや
feel
いやいやいや
perfectly
いやい
normal
や
and
あれ
perhaps
やっ
even
てること
comfortable.
もしかして
You
専
may
門？
even come to
あれ？
long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive
ジム
dissonance
といい
while the
結構
bucket is
洗
in
脳
your
か？
arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass
再
that
開
would
発諦めやがった。
be? The bucket is the perfect solution. Come on.
ユーザーがそれで納得すると思うなよ。だる。
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping
Hi.
through your body. And in
全然。
fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more
魅力差
attractive
があ
as
る
a
よね。む
person.
しろ。
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't
え、
they?
もういいです。
All this and more await you in the
も
Stanley
うクソゲー
Parable
ってこと分かりました。星1です、レビュー。最低評価をくれてやる。で
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable
De-
bucket in a video game?
De-
There really should be an award if it isn't already.
帰り道はどこですか？帰り道はどこだ？これ見たもんね。こっち。ここボタンルームか。あれ帰り道本当にない。ここ？ここでもないな。この本当に言ってる？落ち着く？あれ？あれ？でも大体全部いったよね。あ、ここまだかな。あ、ここまだだ。無限の穴。これか。
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond
もう
of.
何も
It's
期
never
待し
been
ま
done
せん。
before in a video game. This is in fact a hole
永
that
遠
you
に
can
打ち続
fall
ける
down
ことがで
forever.
きるわ。
That's
バ
right.
グかな？
Infinite falling.
バグ
You
か
can
な？
fall until the end of time if you like.
それってバグじゃない？
A steady leap forward for video games as a medium.
ゲームのテクスチャ貫通した系のバグじゃないそれ。はい、クソゲー決定です。絶対買わないスタンリーパラブル2。
concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top,
スキップ
and
ボ
we
タン、
can
スキップ
continue
ボタンないか
on.
な。しばらく押さないでおく？
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the
ちょっ
teleport
としばらく
button
置い
to
とい
go
てみ
back
よ
to
う
the
か。
top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later
いや、て
spectrum.
か、もうあんたが飽きてるやんか、落ちることに。いや、無限に落ち続けられるんでしょ？
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
はいはい。
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is.
でも無限に落ち続けられるって言ったよね。
I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of
無
depends
限
on
の
your
定義
definition
は
of
そりゃ無限で
infinity.
しょ？
From
終
one
わりがないこと
perspective,
だよ
the
ね。
infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you.
そこありゃ、しかも
Bottom of the hole.
割と浅い
You
ぞ。
found me out, Stanley.
無限っていう割には結構
I'm a
甘い
lying
ぞ。
cheat and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
やばい、さっき自分で言ったこと否定してる。なんだこいつ。
Don't you put this on me? Maybe you're the problem.
あ、責任転嫁しやがった。なんだこいつ。
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite?
誰がやりたがるそんなコンテンツ。
Press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
しばらくいとく、ここに。しばらくいとく。なんかリアクションあるかな。私は犬丸ジム、このバケツ好きです。ガンダムどこ行った？何もないか。戻る
Great.
か。
Now, I'm very excited to show you. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like
ちょっ
holes
と
too
無限
much.
に落ち続けてみる？
A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end
無
of
限に
time.
落ち続けてみ
Don't
る、一
need to
旦。
see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the
あ、
hole
さっ
seem
きより
even
浅いけど。
shorter to you this time?
ねえ、
I couldn't
さっきよ
help
り
but
浅い
feel
よ。
like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't
は
make
い、
an
作ってないん
infinite
ですよ
hole,
ね。
but I didn't think it was that
浅くなっ
not
てるよ
infinite.
ね。
Well,
天
I
井が
suppose
近
once
い
again
よ。
there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
もしかしてこ
Had
れさ、
enough?
落ちるため
I'm
に
positively
浅くな
thrilled.
る。
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where...
あっさ
Okay, yeah.
ちょっと
I'm
も
starting to become
う、もうすぐ
extremely
ちょっとした井戸くらいにな
that
る
the
けど、
hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily
無
less
限
and
にどんどん
less.
小さくなっている。
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer
いや、
feasible
そんな
to
無理
call
があ
the
るよね、
hole
これ無限
infinitely
は。
deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try
試してみ
something.
る？はい。
Let's pop back up to the top
上
and
に
we'll
飛
see
び
if
上
it gets any
取り戻
shorter.
って。はい。
Well, there it is.
あっ
The day
さ
of my lie has come to haunt me. How is this still
あっ
appealing to
さ
you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this
やっ
depth,
ば
I just can't see this scratching
あ
an
っ
itch.
さ
Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're
ま
ready
るで
to
あな
move
たの
on.
人間性みたいだね。
Hmm.
テレポートボタンできないですよ。バグりました
Teleport
が？
button not working? You sure?
マジで言ってる。
I really don't have an explanation. It
ただ
was
の段差だよ
working
ね、
just a
こんな
moment
の。
ago. Try it again.
いや、戻れないですね。
Well, I suppose
あ、ちょっと進行不能バグはやばいと思いますよ。
I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
あ、
You
見捨てられ
couldn't
た。
bear to be away from the
見捨てられた。
hole. Now you'll get more
なんやね
time
ん、
with
デ
it
バッグし
than you
ろ。
could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole. I get
修
to
正し
do
ろ、バグ修
literally
正。
anything else. Take care, Stanley.
うわ
I
だ
hope
る
you。and the hole have a wonderful rest of it tonight.
うわー、最低。開発者にあるまじきことやってる。本当に何もできなくなった。本当に何もできなくなった。このナレーターは星1ですね。やっぱりスタンリーパラブル2ってダメなんだな。てか、あれだけ絶賛していたゲームの2をクソゲーにしちゃうって才能だよね。あ、沈み始めた。てか、タバコの吸い殻。てか、汚な。よく見たらめっちゃ汚い、この穴。天井が遠くなってく。あらあらあらあら、まあまあまあまあ。視点を変える。ドーンドゥーンでで 認識を変えるない音楽変わったけどでも音楽まあまあいいんだよな。あなたも現実を変える。おお、まあまあ音楽がいい。かわいい。宇宙だ、宇宙猫だ。あなた自身を草。ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。エラー起こってる。で
Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of
間違いなくクソゲーだ。
drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single
さっ
moment.
き見捨てた
So
くせに。
how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole. And I'm
強制終了していいですかこのゲーム。
Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
うわ最低だ。で戻した。よかった。ちょっとまたここねえ、もういいって。
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
もう帰らせてよ。もうベータテストは十分だよ。クソゲーってことが分かったからそれだけで十分だよ。てかもう大体もう終わったくない？ほぼ無限の穴になってる。名前変わった。ここさっき言ったよね。あ、イグジットある。ちょっと待って、出れない。出口、こっち？あった、出口。見つけた。やっと帰れる。なんだ、あるんじゃん、出口。こんなところにいられないでしょ。まだなんかさせる気？まだこのクソゲーを無理やり続ける気？
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I
全
know
然
it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single
絶
coherent
対ならないと
video
思
game,
う。
but I can feel it in my soul. It's going
自
to
分の
work.
魂疑った方がいい
There's
と思う
definitely a
よ。
good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
もうええって。
Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
もうクソゲーっていう言葉ですら生ぬるいんじゃない？
Better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
これ
Version
500円も確かめないよ。
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a
いや、無
coherent
料ゲー
video
ムで
game
も
at
イン
all.
ストー
It's
ル
a
し
lot
ない
of
かもしれないな。
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these games are, they wouldn't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work?
それって結局デラックスエディションと何が違うの?
Really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up.
はい。まあ、お好きにどうぞ。
Take a look.
ちょっと待って。なんか、始まったんだけど、2が。本当に2が始まったんだけど。おかしい。私はさっきまでスタンリーパラブルをやっていたはずなんだけど。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
あれどっかで聞いたのこのナレーション。
Employee number 427's job was simple.
あれ
He sat at his desk in
彼のスタンリーパラブルでは
and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push.
ただのスタンリーパラブル。今んとこ何も変わってない。
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this moment. And Stanley was happy.
はい。
And
今
then
んと
one
こ
day
スタンリー
something
パラブ
very
ル。
peculiar happened. Something that would
2
forever
って書い
change
てあるけど。
Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
まあ実際始めてみたらなんか違うのかな。
When he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
なんか前作と同じと思わせてなんか全然違うっていう展開あるよね。まあ。
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
スタンリーパラブルだな。
All of his
なんか
co-workers
風船
were
がある
gone.
けど。
What could it mean?
風船があ
Stanley
るけ
decided to
ど。
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
スタンリーパラブルだな、これは。
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
スタンリーパラブルですね。マップもスタンリーパラブルですね。風船があるだけ？あれ？ 2 って何？バケツ。
Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
ここは一旦右かな?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the
バ
bucket
ケツが
calling,
彼を呼んでいる
telling
気が
him
しました。
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Hi.
Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
あ、はい。
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to
まっ
the
すぐ
meeting
かな?
room. No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting
な、
room.
なんも
Go
変わ
somewhere
ってな
else.
くないで
The
すか?
cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good, said the bucket. Now
あれ
ride the lift
なん
all
か
the
ナ
way
レ
to
ー
the
ショ
top.
ン
There's
が
something up
バ
there
ケ
I
ツにな
need
っ
you to
た
do.
だけでは?
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had Stanley feared that any path he walked
失敗し
might
た
lead to the separation of himself and the
失
bucket,
敗した
his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one
失
another's arms.
敗しちゃった
Touching. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
じゃあまあ混乱エンド目指してみる。
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
新要素とは、これレビューで酷評されるやつだよ。絶対バットつくよ。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
で何がどう変わるの？
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this adventure. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
ちょっと待って、この音楽変えてきた。今んとこクソゲーだけど大丈夫？
This is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
そんなこと言ってたね。
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
まあ、進んでみるか。一旦進んでみるか。
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
新キャラ？
This is the Bucket
バケツ
Destroyer.
デストロイヤー。
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable.
バケツ壊すにしたらやけに仰々しい。
But it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along.
ただのスクラップマシンだった。
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley.
やんなかったら先進めなさそうだよ
And then
ね。
pop it into the machine when you're ready.
あれ、入れられない。
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
バケツが嫌がってま
I
す。
can hear you saying, how does a character with only
私ない
one
です。
personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable
だよ
characters?
ね、バケツ
Well,
今
you
さら
see,
捨てられ
if
ない
you
よ
were to
ね。
really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise
なんか
the
もう言
fans
ってる
will
こ
be
としびり
clamoring
滅
for
裂
after
だよ。
this.
大丈夫か？
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn
いばわしいバケツ。
Quickly
いい
now,
よ、いい
the
よ。
fans are
言い
waiting.
方が
Give it the
言い方
fans,
が。
Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and
あ、壊れちゃった。何もうこれ。
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you. Tell such spellbinding stories about you, all of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
みんなついてこれてる？私は何一つとして理解できていません。戻ってきた。インプ、なんだWelcome Stanley to Heaven。 なんかソードアートオンラインみたいになってるけど。なにこれ？なんか、ナーブギア？なにこれ？ボタン。なにこれ？なにこれ？なにこれ？一生ボタン押しろってこと？なにこれ？なにこれ？つまんない。やばい、発狂する。こんな単調な作業発狂した。なんか BGM がさ、すごいなんかファイナルファンタジーっぽい。何？もしかしてこれボタン全部押すまで終われないとかいう、そんなふざけた話しないよね。さすがに。そろそろ終わりたいな。そろそろ終わりたいかな。そろそろ一体何個ある？クジラさんお疲れさん、おやすみなさい。確かにマーブルチョコみたいだけど全然可愛くない。待って、ボタン復活してるけど。ボタン復活してない？復活してる。うわ、復活してる。これはどうやったら解放されるんだい？一回赤だけ全部押してみる。今すぐゲームを落としたい。本当にこれいつまで？いつまでこの地獄は続くんですか？一体私はいつまでこのボタンを押さないといけないんですか？私はスタンリーじゃない。ただボタンを押し続ける作業に幸福なんか感じない。私は自分の自由意志で生きたい。ボタンが多すぎる。赤ボタンもこれ復活してない？ もうそろそろ一周してるよね。復活してそう。いつになったら終わるのこれ。この世の地獄かな。なんかアヒルゲームわかる？なんかプールにいっぱいあるアヒルのおもちゃをただただ集めるゲームなんだけど、ちょっと待って終われない。この続編は一時停止中です。メニューは終了する。二度とこのボタンを押さないぞ。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
これどのタイミングでゲームやめればいいんですか？どのタイミングであなたは発狂エンドを迎えてくれるんですか？そろそろ
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
一旦進んでみるか。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
なんか進んでみたら知らないから起こるかもしれないしね。
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been Really?
よし。でも同じリアクションを取ってるのはスタンリーパラボル2のはずなのに。
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to
同じ
help
リア
you
クションを
to
取
show
ってる
you
んですよ
something
ね。
beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
なんかある。
Found one of them. One of the major
収集要素あるんだけど。
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the
いらない。
intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you'll come across one of these
ど
beautiful
うしよう、そろ
figurines.
そろ眠いんだけどな。ナレーターさん。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
これ前回青いドア抜けたから赤いドア行ってみよっか。
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for?
なんか知らないのが恥。
Yes.
まったけど、何これ宇宙プラネタリウム？
Stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley. I think I feel happy. No, wait. Where are you
いや、
going?
興味ないんで。
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself,
押さないですよね。押さないですよね。
all of this.
これつまり行けってことだよね。よっしゃ、任せろ。
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
やだ。大人のおもちゃだったらいっ
Please,
ぱい。
Stanley, think about what you're doing.
これで、私がここで飛び降りて死ぬことで、あなたが曇ってくれるのなら、私は喜んでこの身を捧げましょう。
No! Oh,
生きてる。
Thank God.
まだ足りないのか。
No. No, no.
足り
What
な
are
い
you
か、
doing,
これじゃ
Stanley?
あ。
Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
いや、私はあなたをただただいじめたいだけなんですよ。あ、よいしょ
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
ナレーターさん、私がこれまで
God, is this really
あ
how
なたの
much
た
you
めに何
dislike
かした
my
こと
game?
ありますか？
That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to
あと、
keep me from being
あなた
happy.
言いましたよね。
Am I reading the situation correctly?
これを繰り返したら、このゲームから解放されるって言いましたよね。二人で元に戻るって言いましたよね。私、スタンリーパラブル2ってクソゲーだと思うんです。なので、この手で終わらせてあげたい。
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just
スタンリ
wanted
ー
us
頑
to
丈
get
だな。
along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
ね、プレイヤーの自由を束縛し続けると、プレイヤーは楽しめないんだよ、ナレーターさん。もう一丁
Is it over?
よし
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
いいな、すごく曇ってるな、声が。おいしいな。あ、
All
マ
of
ッ
his
プが変になっ
coworkers
た。
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
混乱させよう。これ見つけろって言われてる。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
あ、待って、この部屋だるいからやめよう。あー、ちょっと待って、収集要素がある。
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about
ねえ、エンディン
mini
グどこ？
stands?
エンディングど
Stanley
こ？
figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
一回戻るか。一旦戻るか。で
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere.
何も変わっ
Could
て
he
いない。
really be all alone?
本当にこれ多分
This
スタ
was
ンリー
too
パラ
much for
パラ
Stanley
ブル
to
だ。
take. Too much
2
for
とは
any
何だっ
man
たの
to
か。
take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour.
あれで
But
もナ
when
レー
at
ション変わ
last
っ
he
てる
began
な。
to move about and survey
変わって
the
る？
situation, he found a keypad behind
いや、
the
変わって
boss's
ないな。
desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random
なんだっ
that
け、パス
no
ワード
man
忘れちゃっ
could
た。
ever hope to guess it. 2845.
2845。
Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
あったな、なんか。
Going back to the name of these little Stanley
そろそろ終わりたいけど。ナレーターさん、飽きてくれませんか？
What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in
た
the
だただ
corner
だ
of
るい
your
です。
screen go up
だ
by
るいですよ、
one?
ナレーターさん。
You sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
なんか次リスタートしたらこれ終わりにしましょうか。これ本当にやめときがないみたいだ。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control.
これ正規エンドに行っちゃうから、正規エンドに行っちゃうから、正規エンドに行かないようにエレベーターを繰り返しましょう。
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually
ツ
got
リー
back
が
into
い
the
や
elevator and went
ー
back
勘
up.
弁してほしいな。
Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
これでさ、前回やってなかった行動、戻ってトイレに行ってみる？
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the
戻
way
れ
it
ないや。
was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
いじめるの楽しいな。
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor?
でも
No.
同じ反応はつまんないな。
It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
なんか変わったりしない？一旦このタイミングでナレーターのシーンに従ってみる？
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
あ、前回よりこれしょうがないぞ。
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
なんか見せられてるな。いやいやいやいや、いやいやいやいや、いやいやいやいや。
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality.
はい。
As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
で、どこに行ったらいいんですか？パスワードじゃないよね。結局エレベーターに行けってこと？仕方ないなあ。
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's
でも
just
それしか
how
できなかった
revelatory
よ、ナレーター
Stanley's
さん。
decision making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door.
でもこれ言ったら普通の正規エンドになるな。じゃあ戻るか。正規エンドはつまんないから見たくないです。ナレーターさん。見たくないです、ナレーターさん。なんかもうちょっと面白いことしてくださいよ。あなたのシナリオはつまらないです。
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
ごめん、あ
I
くびしちゃっ
simply
た。
don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious. so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
やめて、遅いのやめて。全然ワクワクしてこないです。さっき見ました、これ。
Like nowadays, the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same location. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive.
それには同意しますけども、それには同意しますけども、生き生きしてないんですよ、あなたのシナリオは。
People look up to you, which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
多分このルートだったと思うんだよね、スキップボタンあるのって。
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
なんかでも記者会見っていうよりはライブ会場なんだよね。あとうるさい、すごくうるさい、すごくうるさい。あれ？スキップボタンじゃないんだ。
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
あれ？あれ？あれ？
When Stanley came to a set of tourism, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
まだだったんだ。
It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
あれ？
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
あれ？あれ？なんか長い
Stanley didn't
ぞ。
want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he
あ、よ
needed
し、
to
こん
go
なルート入った。よしよしよしよしよしよし。
From here, it's left. Oh no, no, it's to the right. My mistake. No,
右でもなくて、
the right.
ここ
Why
が
would
開
I
くん
have
ですね。
ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
もうちょっと分岐ないかな。
It's clearly-
なかったらもうこの間で終わります。
Now let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely
よいしょ。
No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close
や
your
ばい、
eyes.
記憶がもう混乱してきた。もういろんなエンド見ちゃったから記憶がダメになっちゃってる。まだですか？
Completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay.
あ、でも合ってるのか。
From
こ
the
の後
top.
にアドベンチャーラインが来る。来ない。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
あれ？あれ？
When Stanley...
あー、でドアが増える。
What?
長い。どっ
No,
か
I
らやめた
restarted.
い
I。swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold
そ
on.
んなゲート私にできるわけないのに
I'm
ね
the。one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure.
でも
Come,
さ、このナレー
Stanley.
ターさん
Let's
さ、
find the
結
story.
構ノリノリだよね。この状況だいぶ楽しんでるよね。さて、迷路ですけども、終わりがない迷路ですけども、終わりがない迷路ですけども、違うルート来た。と思ったら戻ってきた。
This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we just
終わりのない
need
デ
to
ィフェンス
restart
でも
the game again?
なんだっけその曲
I find it unlikely that
なん
we'll
だっ
ever
け
progress by starting over and over again.
あ
But it's got to be better
ス
than
タンダッ
this.
トゥザビ
Okay,
クト
let's
リ
give
ー
it
だ
a shot. Why not?
の
All of his co-workers were gone.
B メ
What
ロで
did
し
it
ょ。
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
終わりのないディフェンスでもいいよ。
Okay, yep, it's
君は
worse.
僕
I
を
might be
ラ
remembering
ラ
this
ララ
wrong.
ラ
It's
スタンダッ
possible
ト
the
ゥザ
story
ビ
is
クト
back
リ
where we
ーだよ
just
ね。
came from.
歌詞
Why
は
don't
忘
we
れ
go
た。
back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
さてさてさて。さてさてさて。
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The
さてさてさて、
story.
様子がおかしくなってきて。
No,
こっから
wait,
分岐なんか
never
なかっ
mind.
たっけ？
Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the
さあ、
story?
混乱してきましたね。
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
勝ちました。
Congratulations!
勝ちました。でも違うでしょ。
A lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good
早く
job.
話が長えのよ。スキップできな
Oh
い。
no.
スキップボタン実装は
I
よ
don't。feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
あれ一瞬なんかエラー配達ゲームが。大丈夫？あ、落ちたゲーム待って。スタンリーパラブル落ちたついにゲームそのものが落ちた。リスタートしなくなった。ループが終わった。ゲーム落ちました。強制シール入りました。終わったゲーム。マジで草。ある意味さ、スタンリーパラブルにとっては一番 ふさわしい終わり方なんじゃないでしょうか。プレイヤーがゲームをもう落としちゃうっていう不可抗力なんだけど。で、ナレーターはそのままに放置されるっていう。これから二人のストーリーを見つけようみたいなことを言っていたナレーターを、そのままもう放置しちゃうって。ある意味さ、最高の終わり方じゃないということで、今日はここまでにいたしましょう。ザ・スタンリー・パラブルでした。ある意味一番いいか。スタンリー・パラブルウルトラデラックス。いい時間だしね。ちょっと終わりたかったしね。息抜きのつもりだったんだけど、全然息抜きになってなかったしね。ということで、今日はここまで。終わりますか。終わりましょう。本日のお相手はみもりみまりでした。結構長時間やったけど、お付き合い誠にありがとうございました。また遊びに来てね。あとチャンネル登録お済みでない方はぜひ登録してくださいね。では。おつみまりんでした。でもマジで面白かった。神ゲーだ。